Well, hello there, and welcome to the summary of the Apex Predators update's naval portion. There's not really much to talk about, but there are quite a few new vessels, and to start off with, we'll look at PT-812. It comes after Tucumcari in the American Coastal Tree at rank 4, with a battle rating of 3.0. Overall, it looks pretty mediocre, having a good gun armament, but no torpedoes, so it can't deal with any blue water vessels really. It doesn't even have any depth charges. Overall, not really a ship I would say to go for, just another neat addition to the American tree. Then, for the Germans and the coastal tree, we have V990, after S100 1944, at rank 3, the battle rating of 2.7. This is actually a pretty fun coastal vessel, it's pretty fast, has the fastest torpedoes in game, and is just overall a very nice addition to the German lineup at 2.7. I would highly recommend getting it. Though the coastal matchmaking is a bit rough still, and it doesn't fare too well on rough waters, it is still most certainly a coastal vessel worth getting. Then staying with the Germans, but this time looking at the blue water fleet, we have a new premium destroyer, Z47, at rank 3 at a battle rating of 4.7. It currently costs 1,750 golden eagles, which is pretty standard for a destroyer of this rank, and it looks pretty fun. Although it does have a big downside, it only has high explosive for the main guns, which, depending on your targets, can either perform alright or pretty poorly. But if you're a collector of German vessels, this should surely be a good addition to that collection. Then next up, again going back to Tech 3 vessels, this time for Russia and the Blue Water Fleet, we have the Tucci, if I pronounce it correctly, sitting at rank 1, 4.0 after the Ognovoy. It's a pretty funky ship really, it's cheap to get and cheap to spade, so I would recommend getting it if you can. Just to give it a try really. It only has high explosive on the main gun, so it's a bit odd. They're also a unique gun in the game, they're this Bofors 120mm guns, which we haven't seen before. It's a very weird ship, so I genuinely do recommend just getting it and trying it out. Then, still sticking with the Russians, we have the premium Ryani, sitting at 3.7, rank 1. This is basically just a premium version of the recently added Bespos Chutney, and it costs 550 golden eagles. I wouldn't really recommend it, as a rank 1 premium isn't all that worth it for grinding stuff. Though, if you're a collector of Russian blue water vessels, sure, why not? It's not really a bad ship, it's not really that good of a ship either. It's just a pretty average Russian destroyer. Then we come to the British with HMS Abdiel, sitting at rank 2 at a battle rating of 4.0, before Diana. Interestingly, this is a cruiser, so it gets a cruiser spawn point. But she plays like a destroyer, acts like a destroyer, has the gun of a destroyer, so she plays alright, just as a standard destroyer of the battle rating. Actually pretty fast for a destroyer of that battle rating. It's a pretty fun and cheap ship, so I do recommend getting it. Though do beware of the very, very vulnerable ammo storage in the front of the ship. Then we come to Japan, again the Blue Water Fleet, where they have a new premium cruiser, Miyoko, sitting at 5.7 at rank 4. She costs 7,480 golden eagles. I'm not quite sure what to think of this ship. I've heard people say that her survivability is quite poor because of her internal crew layout. The firepower seems odd for a 5.7, she should really be a 6.0, so I wouldn't be surprised if she were to be moved up to 6.0 in the future. She does have decent anti-air for a Japanese ship, which is alright, but nothing to really save you most of the time. If it stays at 5.7, I would recommend it, but I highly doubt she would stay at that BR. Miyoko seems more on par with any of the 6.0s in the Japanese Blue Water Tree rather than the 5.7s, but we'll have to see. And then last, for the new ship additions, at least the playable ones, we have Abruzzi, an Italian rank 5 light cruiser sitting at a BR of 5.7, being another breath of fresh air for the Italian Blue Water Tree. I have heard mixed reviews about the ship though. He does on paper have decent armor, however there's some ammo stores outside of the armor plating, making her kind of easy to be detonated. It's a weird ship, but if you're an Italian main, it should be a very nice addition to your 5.7 lineup. Then we have new carrier models for AI carriers, this being IGN Shokaku, HMS Illustrious, USS Lexington, Enterprise, and Saratoga. In general, these ships have a more detailed model, damage model, and anti-air suite. Currently, I don't think many maps actually field these models, although you can find them in Test Drive, or if you're proficient with the CDK, you can make a custom mission with them. Then, for Naval, there's also new voice lines, as you may have noticed if you've been playing Naval the past few days. I can't really showcase them too well in this video, but I think the European Canadian, another content creator, has made a video with all the voice lines, so if you're curious about them, go check that out. Overall, I'm quite a fan of the new voice lines, though they can be a little bit tacky for some people. Other than these major changes, there's a bunch of fixes and changes to armor layouts and stuff like that. Nothing too major, nothing too noticeable, so I'll just have them on the screen here. Then, finally, we have a change that might be interesting, although I haven't seen the results of it yet. Gaijin has added a mechanic to where if you don't land a single hit during the match, when you're personally controlling the guns, you will not get any rewards. So let's say you press Alt 3 to select your anti-aircraft gunners, let the AI control your main and secondary guns and just AFK, or let the script do it, which the zombies have been doing in Naval for quite some time now. Theoretically, they should no longer be getting any rewards as long as they don't get any hits with those anti-air guns they're controlling. I haven't really seen the results of this yet, but I do hope that this is a step in the right direction for finally removing these zombies from Naval. And how could I forget? Most destroyers now have camos available for either unlocking or purchasing. They're pretty alright, each nation having their own variation of camos, as you can see. What is also brought along, though, is the capability to mess with the quality of your camouflages if you have premium. This can lead to some funny results here and there, like on this Italian reserve vessel. Overall, also a very nice addition. And that is it, really. Honestly, it hasn't been the biggest update for Naval. Though there's a lot of interesting things that occurred during the dev server and on the data mines. Stuff like submarine, like codes for submarine stuff, voice lines for submarine crew, the French voice lines have been added. So I am very much looking forward to the next year of Naval. Though we'll be in for a long wait, as the next update should be around March, if I'm not mistaken. But for now, let's just keep ourselves busy with getting that Des Moines class cruiser, shall we? And I'll see you in the next one.